I'm Inzamam Rashid and I'm Sky's North of England correspondent, telling stories from this culturally rich region I call home.
It's going to become very similar to other places and lose its unique qualities.
It's steeped in history.
If the Taliban found your family, what would happen?
I think they're just going to straight away execute them.
There are issues of racism in all levels of cricket.
I was on the balcony a couple of times. I was nearly gone.
Football is a joy to watch, and when people are disappointed, you can feel the hate.
I just felt physically sick because I was like, that's really in my system.
We take you to the heart of the stories that shape our world. Even before the pandemic, GPs were pleading for help. Government expects more face-to-face contact with patients in return.
Men, they want to force you doing something which you don't want to do, just because you're homeless and you're looking for a warm place to sleep.
We give a voice to communities often unheard and unserved from a region with a distinct history and global impact.
Sky News Snow Report, sponsored by snowrental.co.uk. Online ski hire in Europe.
The Alps can expect further snow through the week, although rain is more likely at low levels, but it's mostly fine at the moment, giving skiers the chance to enjoy the fresh weekend snow. Many Austrian resorts had 5 to 15 centimetres over the last couple of days, but could do with more. France is...
Sky News Snow Report, sponsored by snowrental.co.uk. Online ski hire in Europe.
I'll tell you a bit more about the ski report a little later. Now, thousands of soldiers and civilians have been injured or killed since Russia invaded Ukraine. With hospitals there under constant strain, some Ukrainian soldiers are now being treated in other European countries. Our international correspondent John Sparks visited some of those being treated for their injuries in Ireland. And let me just tell you, this report coming up does contain graphic images of wounds sustained by some of the soldiers in battle.
Captain Max Horowitz has seen and suffered on the Eastern Front. Facially disfigured in the Ukrainian war, he was offered a hospital bed on the other side of Europe. The city of Dublin now providing something of a sanctuary.
Max, can you remove your hat? Can you take your hat? Yeah. Okay.
Why are you here?
Max.
Що мене допоможуть мені вернути хоча б те обличчя, яке в мене було.
Captain Horowitz, on the right, and his unit were targeted with artillery as they tried to repair a communication line. This picture taken just before the attack.
Коли ми дочекалися, просто встали і пішли, якби під кінець ще, знаєш, як парочку ще кинули. І я присів, просто повернув голову, і удар зразу був мені в голову. Можу фотографію показати. Думаю, з хлопцями.
Max blacked out and later fell into a coma. He would lose his right eye and part of his nose. His skull was badly damaged. He was moved from hospital to hospital in Ukraine, but the system is under strain, so the European Union has stepped in with an unprecedented operation, moving 2,000 seriously injured soldiers and civilians to medical facilities around Europe.
Do you want to knock on the door there?
Huh?
Yeah, here.
Ukrainian Ivan Nedobrook was shot twice when his position was attacked by Russian troops. One bullet entered through his shoulder and passed through his spine.
Як ти після операції? Голові тебе буде чудово.
Lean forward.
The pain is physical and it's also psychological. Ivan can no longer tolerate the thought of war.
Це був ад. Я змінив своє враження про війну тоді, коли я потрапив на неї. Коли я побачив, через що потрібно проходити, через що проходять кожен день наші хлопці. Тяжко говорити про це, думати про це.
Will you go back to Ukraine?
Ну, якщо чесно, то лишитися тут. Так, я своє вже відвоював. От.
Max needs reconstructive surgery to rebuild his face, but he's had to wait. Irish hospitals are operating at full capacity. But he has support. His wife, Tetiana, and daughter, Sophia, have now joined him in Ireland. It's nice here, isn't it, by the sea? You like it here?
Дуже спокійно. Дуже спокійно. Бо я поряд вже сім'я, вже набагато легше мені. Це дуже чудово.
However, Captain Horowitz says he wants to go back and fight. You won't stay, you will go back to Ukraine.
Так, та мої побратими ще залишились. Важко знаходитись, коли ти в безпеці, а ти розумієш, що там хтось кожен день хтось гибне. Трошки важко осознати, що...
The connection to his homeland is strong, yet it may prove difficult to leave these welcoming shores. John Sparks, Sky News in Dublin.
Now, recent tweaks and cuts to the work of literary greats, including Roald Dahl, Agatha Christie, Ian Fleming and Enid Blyton, have caused outrage from some readers who fear that literature is being censored. There's growing online outrage about how some publishers are increasingly inviting so-called sensitivity readers to check through an author's work before it's published. But all that's not going down well with some well-known authors, as our arts and entertainment correspondent Katie Spencer has been finding out.
Fiction, another frontier in the culture wars. What's playing out within publishing set to affect what ends up on bookshelves near you.
Not Sense and Sensibility, but common sense pitted against sensitivity. Take Roald Dahl, for instance. When plans emerged to publish re-edited versions of some of his classics, removing words like fat and ugly, it caused uproar, with the likes of Sir Salman Rushdie saying it was censorship.
A sensitivity reader, despite the name, is not looking for offence, we're looking for harm.
Increasingly these days, publishers now employ experts like Helen Gold.
People who do not experience oppression maybe don't understand how important it is not to be reminded of all the atrocities that you and people who share your identity have gone through.
She believes the media's portrayal of sensitivity readers as unqualified outside forces is in part fueling online outrage.
We are more like specialised editors. In the same way that if you're writing a book about a hospital, you might want to go and talk to a doctor about what they do. Say a white author writing about black characters might want to go and talk to a black person about what it's like to be black.
How do authors see it? Harlan Coben has sold over 80 million of his thrillers. Abby Morgan is an award-winning screenwriter and author.
The world is different, and so you have to reflect that. My novels take place in the present day. So my characters will speak now differently than when I wrote a book in 1989 or something like that. They should speak differently. The world is different.
We're trying to revise and look at history and really re-examine the way we've looked at history, for example. We're going to do that with literature. But also it's important, and I think those things exist so that we can name them and expose them and say that was the time when those things were written, and that's not the way we would choose to write now, but that's what was acceptable or written in the way it was in that time. And so for me, it's a real balance.
In reality, modifying what's written with sensitivity is, of course, likely to be less about publishers riding a wave of political correctness and more practically about sales, ensuring books have a longer shelf life, that what's written stays relevant. Katie Spencer, Sky News.
Right, Kay is up at 7. We'll examine the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, also talk about the strikes by junior doctors. I'll see you again at 10 o'clock this morning, but let's talk about the weather now. On the turn.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
There you go, turning